Mithridates II, also known as Mithridates the Great, ascended the Parthian throne after Artabanus II's death. He restored Iranian dignity, building a powerful army and converting opponents into allies. He conquered the Scythians and Euasia in the east, extending Parthian territory to the Himalayas. He then planned to conquer Armenia, defeating Artaxias and his forces, but his plans to work with the Romans against the newly independent Armenian king, Tigranes, were thwarted by the Roman commander Sulla. Mithridates the Great prepared for war against Armenia, but he died in 76 BC after 48 years of rule before the battle could take place. Parthias II ruled for 9 years and did not achieve many of his goals. Ultimately, he passed away due to conflicts with the Scythians in the eastern region. When Parthias II died, another person ascended to the throne by the name of Artabanus II of Parthia. Many believe that Artabanus II of Parthia was the son of Parthias II, however, some historians claim that Parthias II had no children, and Artabanus was Parthias's nephew. Whatever the case, the 8th official king of the Arsacids was crowned in the year 128 BCE. When Artabanus II of Parthia ascended to the throne, the situation of the Arsacid government was far from stable. The western and eastern borders were very insecure, and the Arsacid court was in turmoil. In the political capital of the Arsacids, which was Hecatum Pylos, or modern-day Hamadan, most tribes and power groups were at odds with each other. Artabanus II of Parthia decided to first restore order to the internal conditions of the Arsacid kingdom and not pay much attention to matters beyond the borders. He successfully implemented this plan and secured Hecatum Pylos. Many of the power groups that opposed the Arsacids were brought back under his control, and he stabilized the internal situation. When the internal conditions became favorable, he decided to take revenge on the Parthians' neighbors who have caused a lot of trouble for the Arsacids during this time. One of these neighbors was the Seleucids, who had been enemies of the Arsacids for a long time. But most importantly, there were the Scythians, who had been formidable foes in the eastern regions and even led to the death of Parthias II. Parthias II, at a time when he could have advanced, was forced to retreat and engage with the Scythians due to their disturbances. Artabanus II of Parthia, who had decided to take revenge on the Scythians, was informed just when he intended to move towards the eastern region that, in addition to the Scythians, another enemy had been found in that area, the people known as the Euazi. According to many historians, the Euazi were believed to be of the Tocharian tribes who had previously lived in the Middle East. However, they encountered difficulties with other Mongol tribes, left that area, and settled on the banks of the Siadaya and Amudaya rivers. There, they faced problems with the people living under the Arsacid rule, creating much resistance, making the region unsafe, seizing their lands, taking their livestock, and killing many of these individuals. Artabanus II of Parthia prepared himself for the battle against both tribes. Another point about the Euazi tribe is that they had previous conflicts with Iranians during the reign of the Medes and the rule of Cyaxares. In the era of Alexander the Great and his conquests, this conqueror had clashed with the Euazi tribe, but due to lack of familiarity with that region, he had to retreat and couldn't overcome this tribe. During the reign of Artabanus II of Parthia, the presence of the Euazi tribe became very prominent. They had settled exactly on the eastern border of Iran and even intended to enter the Arsacid territory and engage in battle with them. Ultimately, Artabanus II of Parthia moved in that direction to confront both tribes. The Scythians and Uzi knew one thing: if they remained separate, they were unlikely to withstand Artabanus II of Parthia and his powerful army. Therefore, they allied to withstand him and his army. When Artabanus II of Parthia reached that region, he faced the combined forces of the Scythians and Uzi. The wars between the Scythians, Uzi, and Artabanus II of Parthia began at this point. They fought for a full 4 years, and during these battles, the Arsacids suffered defeat. Perhaps the only positive aspect was that they managed to halt the advance of the Scythians. It was during these wars that Artabanus II of Parthia was wounded, and due to these injuries, he lost his life. When he passed away, the next Arsacid king was a figure known as Mithridates II, who became famous in Iranian history as Mithridates the Great. Mithridates the Great ascended to the throne as the 9th official king of the Arsacid dynasty in the year 124 BCE. At the beginning of his rule, he swore to avenge all the defeats against the Scythians and Uzi tribes and secure the eastern regions once again. He fulfilled this vow by creating a powerful army and turning all those who opposed him into supporters and allies. With this united force, they marched towards the eastern region, where Mithridates the Great achieved such a decisive victory over the Scythians and Uzi that the survivors became obedient and loyal subjects of Mithridates the Great. The entire eastern region fell into the hands of Mithridates the Great, and he wielded power in that area. Unsatisfied with conquering this region, Mithridates the Great, upon realizing the motivation for further advancement within his forces, ordered them to move eastward. Mithridates the Great expanded his territory to the extent that it reached the Himalayan mountain range. Later, archaeologists confirmed this by discovering coins around the Himalayas bearing the names and symbols of the Arsacid princes. All these findings indicated Mithridates the Great's military campaign in that region and demonstrated that he had extended his dominion to the eastern areas, reaching the Himalayas. Following these remarkable successes, Mithridates the Great contemplated launching a military campaign into the Caucasus and Armenia. However, what was happening in Armenia during the reign of Mithridates the Great? In Armenia, a government named Ararat was established. The Ararat government was in constant conflict with the Assyrians, but neither side had clear superiority over the other. Why was the Ararat government formed in Armenia? Herodotus believed that the Armenian people, in past eras, lived in a region in present-day Turkey called Phrygia. They later moved from the Turkish region and entered Armenia. However, when they entered the region of Armenia, they were under the rule of the Seleucid government. During the military campaigns of Mithridates I, they managed to break free from the dominance of the Seleucids and allied with Mithridates I. Mithridates I annexed that region from the Caucasus to his dominion. However, during the time of Mithridates the Great, a figure named Artaxias rose to power in Armenia. This individual declared independence, stating that Armenia would not be subordinate to the central government of the Arsacids in any way and had its own rule. When this news reached Mithridates the Great, he became extremely angry and could not tolerate such a development. Mithridates the Great ordered the next military campaign to be directed towards the region of Armenia. The Parthian soldiers moved towards the Armenian region, inflicting a severe defeat on Artaxias and his forces, and bringing Armenia under the obedience of Mithridates the Great. Even Artaxias' son, Tigranes, fell into captivity under the Parthians and spent some time within the domains of the Arsacids. Later, by the command of Mithridates the Great, Tigranes was freed and returned to Armenia. Tigranes became the king of Armenia, but he received all his directives from Mithridates the Great. During the reign of Mithridates II, the major powers in the region were the Roman Republic and the Seleucid Empire. However, in the northern Anatolian region, another government had been established called Pontus, or the Kingdom of Pontus. The ruler of this government was an individual named Mithridates I Eupator. Mithridates I Eupator considered himself from the Achaemenid lineage, believing himself to be a descendant of the surviving line of Cyrus the Great and Darius the Great. He aimed to revive the Achaemenid Empire and considered the Roman Republic as a formidable enemy, seeking to eliminate it. Mithridates I Eupator had successful military campaigns and had conquered Asia Minor, advancing into the region of Cappadocia and reaching the shores of the Black Sea. In Iranian history, Mithridates I Eupator is known as the King of Poison, Padshah. The story behind this title is that Mithridates I Eupator had a peculiar habit: he would ingest a small amount of poison daily. This practice traced back to his father, Mithridates V Evergetes, who had been poisoned by his wife. Mithridates I Eupator did not want to fall victim to a similar fate. Physicians had advised him that by consuming a small amount of poison daily, provided it wasn't lethal, he could build immunity against various toxins. For this reason, he always carried a small amount of poison with him and consumed it daily to make himself immune to potential poisoning attempts. Mithridates I Eupator had a good relationship with Armenia. It is even said that Tigranes was the son-in-law of Mithridates I Eupator. Mithridates I Eupator was a supporter of Armenia's independence and backed Armenia. Throughout his life, Mithridates I Eupator engaged in 3 wars with the Roman Republic. These wars are known in history as the Mithridatic Wars. In the First War, Mithridates I Eupator committed mass killings of all the Roman people in Asia Minor and even conquered Greece. However, one of his commanders was defeated by Lucius Cornelius Sulla, a great Roman general, and Mithridates I Eupator was forced to make peace. In the Second War, between 83 to 81 BCE, Mithridates I Eupator had numerous battles with the Romans and retreated to Armenia. In the Third War, in 64 BCE, Mithridates I Eupator managed to conquer the lost territories in Asia Minor and regain control over them. However, ultimately, in 66 BCE, he suffered defeat at the hands of Roman commanders and fled to Crimea. In Crimea, Mithridates I Eupator conceived an ambitious and unrealistic plan to launch a massive military campaign to permanently end the Roman Republic. All the individuals who were supposed to ally with him formed a large army. Everything was set for this military expedition, but it never happened because Mithridates I Eupator's own son betrayed him. This son ousted him from the throne, declared himself as the king of Pontus, and the others no longer acknowledged Mithridates I Eupator as their ruler. Unable to endure such humiliation, Mithridates I Eupator took his own life during the same exile. As mentioned earlier, Mithridates I Eupator supported the independence of Armenia and encouraged Tigranes to declare independence. Tigranes did the same, proclaiming their independence in the Caucasus region. They expanded their territories towards the eastern regions of present-day Turkey, including Sanliurfa and Diyarbakir, incorporating these areas into their dominion. When Mithridates the Great heard this news, he became furious and realized that he had to move towards the Caucasus and launch a military campaign there. However, they informed Mithridates the Great that the issue was not just with the Armenian government. The Roman Republic also had problems with the Armenian government, and they might be seeking to resolve these issues as well. It was planned to send Sulla to the Asia Minor region to address the problems there and establish a common border to eliminate any issues between Armenia and the Roman Republic. Sulla received instructions from the Roman Senate and entered the Asia Minor region. When Mithridates the Great heard this news, he was very pleased and said that we both have a great empire and the best thing to do is to have an alliance between us to prevent any undue interference from newly established governments. Mithridates the Great sent a representative to Sulla, and the envoy, named Arbazus, received his message and entered Sulla's court. However, when he spoke with Sulla, he noticed the Romans' cold behavior. Sulla then told Arbazus that there would be no problem between the two nations, and their friendship would continue, but there was no authority from the Senate, and no defense treaty would be signed. Arbazus, empty-handed, left the impoverished Asia Minor and returned to Mithridates the Great's court. Unable to tolerate this humiliating situation, Mithridates the Great considered Arbazus the main culprit for the humiliation of the people and the government. For this reason, he ordered Arbazus to be killed. Arbazus was executed, and Mithridates the Great realized that there was no help coming from the Roman Republic. Mithridates the Great ordered his troops to prepare, took command personally, and moved towards the Caucasus to bring the Armenian government to its knees once again. Everything was ready for the operation, but this event did not happen because death did not allow Mithridates the Great the opportunity to carry out this plan. The ninth ruler of the Arsacid dynasty passed away in 76 BC after a 48-year reign. During his reign, Mithridates the Great revitalized the weakened Arsacid government and transformed it into a powerful empire. In the Arsacid government, there existed a council known as the Mahestan Assembly, which was a legacy of Mithridates I of Parthia. According to many historians, it was considered the first assembly in Iran and possibly the world. After the death of Mithridates the Great, the Mahestan Assembly was convened, where dignitaries gathered to determine the country's future and consider a successor to Mithridates the Great. However, in this assembly, 3 individuals claimed the throne. One of them was Gotazes, the son of Mithridates the Great, who had rebelled in Babylon and declared himself the king of the Arsacids. Gotazes' reign did not last long, as another individual named Sinotrux of Parthia, the son of Mithridates I of Parthia, overthrew him. Sinotrux of Parthia officially became the 10th king of the Arsacids. However, his rule was short-lived. When he ascended to the throne, he was elderly, and the Arsacid government was entangled in conflicts among the princes and the leaders of the clans. Simultaneously, Tigranes, the Armenian ruler, seized the opportunity amidst the turmoil in the Arsacid government. He occupied Azerbaijan and Kurdistan, plundered the Euphrates, and declared himself the king of the region. During this period, the Arsacid government remained neutral between Armenia and Cappadocia and refrained from intervening in the affairs of Asia Minor. In this tumultuous situation, Sinotrux of Parthia, the elderly ruler, passed away. After Sinotrux of Parthia, his son Pratas III ascended the throne, becoming the 11th king of the Arsacids. Similar to his father, Pratas III did not prioritize issues in Asia Minor, and the battles between the Pontic Kingdom and the Roman Republic held little significance for him. While the conflicts in Asia Minor were not important to Pratas III, his role was significant, and both the Pontic Kingdom and the Roman Republic considered him crucial. Both governments continuously sent letters and messengers to him, attempting to sway him towards their alliance and urging him to take actions that would make it easy for him to align with either of them to jointly confront their common enemy. Ultimately, Pratas III chose the Roman Republic and decided to cooperate with them, even though he had harbored resentment towards Rome before. The decision was made to send Pratas III and the Arsacid forces towards Armenia to take revenge against Tigranes. Simultaneously, the Roman Republic would move towards Pontus, allowing them to jointly confront their common adversary. Pratas III launched a successful campaign towards Armenia, bringing down Tigranes and avenging his grievances. However, he had little interaction with the people of Armenia, and they, in turn, aligned themselves with the Arsacid people, once again making Armenia part of the Arsacid territory. On the other side, the Roman Republic managed to overcome the Pontic Kingdom, establishing a significant presence in the region. Everything seemed to be going well, but right at the point where it appeared that these two superpowers would join forces and make peace, the scent of a bloody war lingered in the air. There was a possibility of a fierce conflict between the Arsacids and the Roman Republic, even though they had eliminated their common enemies. The reason for this inability to reconcile was rooted in the renewed intrigues of the Roman government. Despite making promises to Parthia III before these events unfolded, when they gained power, they disregarded all those assurances. One of the promises was that, after Parthia III took control of Armenia, they would return Kurdistan to Iran. Kurdistan had previously been separated from Iran. However, the Roman Republic did not accept this and claimed Kurdistan for itself. All these factors intensified the conflicts between Parthia III and the Roman Republic. Finally, in the year 60 BCE, Parthia III was poisoned by his two sons, Mithridates and Herodes, for unknown reasons, leading to his demise. The prevalence of the name Mithridate among the Arsacids is attributed to the beliefs of Iranians, especially the Parthians, who followed the Mithraic or Mithraism religion. During this period, when Parthia III was assassinated by his sons, the situation for the Arsacid rulers was very precarious, and turmoil prevailed along the borders of the Arsacids. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like it, and share it with your friends. Do not hesitate to provide your view regarding this video by putting your comments below. Your comments would help us to improve our work, and also, they help us to take your views into account for the future topics that we select. Furthermore, you can subscribe to our channel to become aware of our new videos.